Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason, and today we're going to give you a little bit of a look inside that 53-man roster and give you our final prediction / projection. Who makes this team? Who doesn't make this team ahead of NFL kickoff weekend? Also, I'm going to give you a breakdown of what I want to see the Pittsburgh Steelers do tonight in their third and final preseason game to continue to make strides ahead of the regular season. So let's dive right into that matchup tonight, Steelers, Atlanta. And I want to see that offensive line group continue to gel. I think they've done a solid job throughout this offseason so far. I feel like the additions have made a difference. And I feel like the Steelers' offensive line is starting to look like a cohesive unit. So I want to continue to see that. Continue to see them give Kenny a little bit more time. Continue to be able to run the ball to the outside a little bit. Be able to run the ball in the middle. Be able to do just all the things that they need to be able to do, all the things that is expected of them to do. So I want to continue to see that growth. And I want to see also Kenny Pickett continue to look like that legit NFL quarterback, that can legit NFL veteran quarterback. I would like to see that offensive line give him that time like they have been to be able to go through his progression, stand in that pocket, make quick, accurate, decisive throws, and show that leadership, that ability to mentally break down the game and be able to pick apart a defense a little bit. I want to see also Kenny be able to slide around a hair and manipulate that pocket. I don't want to see him taking off and running. I don't want to see him get hurt in the preseason. But I'd like to see him be able to manipulate the pocket a little bit, to be able to deliver throws off balance a little bit, and maybe in a tad bit of an uncomfortable situation. So I want to see that growth continue for Kenny Pickett because he has to grow every time he steps out onto that football field. That wide receiver group. I want to see that wide receiver group continue to take big strides in the blocking game down the field, yards after catch. I want to continue to see that from those guys. I think they've emphasized that this offseason, and it's starting to really show. You've seen the big block from Deontay Johnson last week. That was very in your face. You've seen it. You've seen the work that they were doing. He was able to make that nice block. You see how they're really emphasizing that run after catch and getting those tough yards to be able to move the chains. So the offensive line, the Kenny Pickett, and that wide receiving core, I like where they've been so far this offseason, and I want to continue to see that. How about that running back room? I want to see that running back room continue the path that they are on with Jaylen Warren. But I want to see Najee get a couple good runs, a couple ball, getting that chains or moving the chains with the ball in his hands to build up a little bit of confidence moving toward the regular season. I think he hasn't got enough quality reps, if any. So I want to see him grab a couple of those reps tonight and make a difference a little bit and can get that confidence build up for the regular season so we can start to get the wheels moving on this bus. The tight end group, I want to continue to see great strides from them. I want to continue to see Connor Hayward make big plays in big moments when it's needed. I want to see Pat Freiermuth continue to be that legit number one tight end on the Steelers roster. I want to continue to see, Zach Gentry, Darnell Washington, but there's a little twist in our projections here with that tight end group, so stay tuned for that. We're going to get into that in just 1 minute. So all in all, I really want to just see this Pittsburgh Steelers team continue down the path that they have so far this offseason in terms of preseason games and continue to gain those quality reps. I like the defense. They're looking good in many aspects. I want to see that cornerback room, though, stop giving up those easy passing catches in front of them. And I want to see them become more disruptive in those one-on-one matchups. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. I've seen some passes last week that were just gimmies, that they threw them in front of them, they let them go, they tackled them, whatever. Okay, but they're still positive yards. I want to see them try to eliminate those easy passing catches, especially in the man coverage. I know it happens in zone a lot, but I want to see him be able to apply a little bit more pressure and cause a little bit more disruption. Let's not forget, I want to see in the special teams group, I want to see that continue to grow also. I feel like they got a solid unit this year in special teams. And I want to see Presley Harvin continue to have another big week with his punts. They may not be boomers, guys, but they're put where they need to be. And I think so far he's done a great job with that. moving into tonight's game. And I think it's finally all starting to click for Harvin, and he understands what he needs to do. And maybe a little bit of the nerves are out of him now. I don't know. I don't know what was hindering him in his development, but it hasn't been the best so far. And I'm glad to see we're seeing a little bit more of a positive effort from Presley. All right, guys, let's get in to what you've probably been sitting here waiting for, and that is the Steelers' 53-man roster. And let me just go through and break it down, and then maybe I'll give a little insight as we're going through here. But I'm going to try to go through it pretty quickly. I want to keep this video under 10 minutes. I know we have the game tonight. I'd like you guys to be able to watch as much content from everywhere ahead of tonight's matchup, so I'm going to keep this one as short and sweet as I possibly can. So let's start out with that 53-man roster. Who makes it, who doesn't? You're going to be able to tell as I'm going through here. Maybe some surprises, maybe not surprising you. But my prediction on this 53-man roster, I have the offense, and we'll start at quarterback. Kenny, Mitch, and Mason. That's the obvious. I don't think, what's his name, Morgan, is going to make it. I don't think he has a chance. So I think those are your three quarterbacks, which is a pretty obvious thing there. Wide receiver. I like them keeping 6 wide receivers, and I like them keeping the obvious. Deontay Johnson, Pickens, Calvin Austin, Allen Robinson. But I like them to also keep Gunnar Olszewski, and I like them to keep Miles Boykin. Miles Boykin particularly because of his special teams role, and Gunnar because, I don't know, I just think he's maybe the next best option at that wide receiver position right now. So I don't really think you have much of a chance or much of a different choice. So I like those guys as your 6 wide receivers for the 2023 season. The running back room, I like the Steelers to keep 3 runners: McFarland, Harris, and Warren. I like them. Those are my 3 runners. It's pretty obvious, but I do like them to keep all 3. And I know sometimes they don't do that, but I like them to keep all 3 this season. I like to see them keep all 3. I think that would be a nice trio of backs in there, especially with how McFarland's been playing here so far in this preseason. The tight end room, you might not like what I have to say here. I like them keep a Pat Freiermuth, Connor Hayward, and Darnell Washington. I think this is the end of Zach Gentry in Pittsburgh. I think tonight could be the last time you see him in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform. And I know some would want to keep him. I would like to keep him. I know he's going to get picked up, and I know he's going to be on another team. I think he still has some quality play left ahead of him in the NFL. And hopefully he'll get to a spot that he's able to showcase more of what he can do. But I don't like the Steelers keeping him here. I said it at the beginning of the offseason when they restructured and made that deal for him. I don't know if it was a restructure or what, but they gave him that different contract. And I told you guys that it was a setup for them to get rid of him. And I think the offseason and the preseason has played out to where we're going to see Zach Gentry be cut from this football team. And that's just the way it goes, guys. Sometimes in the NFL, you're going to have players you like, but they're going to be casualties here on cut down day. So I like them to keep that group there, the 3 tight ends of Darnell Washington, Connor Hayward, and the Pat Freiermuth. That'll be your tight end group this year. Let's move into the offensive line. I have Dan Moore Jr., Broderick Jones, Isaac Seumalo, Kevin Dotson, Mason Cole, Nate Herbig, Chuks Okorafor, and James Daniels. That will be your 8 offensive linemen. I'm truly believing that. I think Spencer Anderson had a chance, but I think that ship may have sailed. So I like that group that I just named. Those 8, I think, are pretty solid slam dunks for that offensive line room. I don't look for them to keep any more than that, because I think they're going to keep some extra defensive players, in which it probably is pretty warranted considering this is a pass-happy league and you need to load up in other places. So I like those as my 8 offensive linemen. Let's move into the defense. I like them keeping them roughly around, 27 players or so. So I like them to keep on the defensive tackle spot Cam Hayward. And I like him to keep Isaiah Loudermilk, who's had one of his best preseasons as a Steeler. He was drafted by the Steelers, familiar with the system, and I think he's starting to come into his own as a Pittsburgh Steeler, and I think this is his year. I think he's going to make some contributions, so I like him keeping Loudermilk. At nose tackle, I like him keeping Montravius Adams. I like them keeping Braden Fioku and Keanu Benton. And I like them keeping Armon Watts too. I like them keeping 4 there. I know that may be a little weird, but I want them to keep that because I want that offensive line to always be fresh. I want them to be able to rotate them in and out, be able to have some options along that defensive front. So that's what I like that there. So 4 players on that nose tackle spot, which can kind of float around there and play in that defensive line area. However they may fit in that weak scheme. I like a defensive end, Larry Ogunjobi, and I like DeMarvin Leal. I think those two make this roster for sure. We know Larry O and DeMarvin Leal, I think, is pretty much a slam dunk. Also, let's go to the outside linebacker, and I like him to be keeping TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Marcus Golden, and Nick Herbig. I think those are your 4 guys that are going to be rotating a lot. And I think you're going to see a lot of all 4 of those guys. I think they're going to really keep the guys fresh on that pass rush to allow them to be able to hit home a lot. And you're going to have an exciting year at that position, guys. So those are the 4 outside linebackers I like them keeping. Now, inside linebacker, I think they're going to keep a couple more. Cole Holcomb, Landon Roberts. I think they're going to keep Keanu Neal, Quan Alexander, Tanner Muse, and Nick Kowalski. I think they're going to keep him. I think that's going to be your inside linebacker group. Let's move down to the corners. I like them keeping Levi Wallace, Patrick Peterson, Joey Porter Jr., James Pierre, Chandon Sullivan, and Elijah Riley. I think Elijah Riley will serve a purpose. I think he can play some special teams. I think you can bring him in different situations. I don't think he plays the zone or the man coverage as well as he does zone. So maybe they'll bring him in different packages to be able to spell some of them other guys. But I like Elijah Riley making this football team. So let's move down to the safeties. I like Minka Fitzpatrick for sure. We all know he's going to make the team, slam dunk. Dermonte KZ, slam dunk to make the team. Keanu Neal, he'll be on the team. And a Miles Killebrew. Because Miles Killebrew is your captain out there on that special teams group. We know they're going to keep him. I just feel that they're really gearing up for that this season. So they're going to keep Miles Killebrew. You want to be solid in all 3 phases, and I think the Steelers are going to be. And I think Miles Killebrew is vital to that special teams group. So there you have it, guys. Oh, let's not forget our specialists, which is Christian Kuntz as the long snapper, Boswell as the kicker, and Harvin as the punter. That'll round out our group. That'll make this final roster. Remember, you're going to be able to dress 50. It should be 54 if I read that correctly, because you're going to be able to keep that 3rd quarterback dressed. That's not going to cost you a roster spot. So remember that Mason should be dressing every game as that 3rd insurance quarterback. But I think there's rules and stipulations on how you can use that 3rd guy too. I think it has to be injury. I don't think you can just rotate through them all. I think there has to be an injury that causes that player to be thrusted into action. So we're getting rid of the Kendrick Green experiment. That's done here in Pittsburgh. Kendrick Green is gone. Zach Gentry, gone. So many other players that I think have a chance to play in the NFL somewhere. And we'll see who the Steelers can grab up and who they're able to grab up for that practice squad to be able to maybe stash a player away on there. But some of these players, it's going to be hard to get them on the practice squad. So we shall see how that all shakes down. But that is our projection, our prediction moving here into the 2023 season. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the preseason so far here on Mike Drop Sports. We have one more show we're going to be bringing you tonight. That'll be a live event post-game after the Steelers-Falcons game. We're going to go live. I want questions. And we're going to talk Steelers. And I have been feeling under the weather today, so hopefully that doesn't change, and I'm able to continue to feel well enough to be able to do that. I've been feeling quite rough. So let's hopefully think positive thoughts for those Pittsburgh Steelers tonight, and hopefully they remain healthy. And I think that's what our 53-man roster will shake out to look like. Let me know in the comments if you think that I'm wrong in any area there and they may keep somebody different than what I'm saying. But those are the players I'm thinking they're going to keep. So let me know. Continue to watch the channel. Continue to watch every time we put up an episode. I really, truly appreciate it. You guys are commenting so much. I appreciate that. I love when you hit the like and the share. That's awesome, man. I thank you guys so much. So until next time, which should be later tonight, peace.